Good morning all. In today class 7th mathematics video, I will be covering the part 2b for integer. In my previous video, I have told about the addition and subtraction properties of integer. In this part 2b, I will be covering the multiplication and division properties of integers. So directly coming to our first property, closure property. See, if a and b are two integers, so for multiplication, a into b will also be an integer. You can see example, 5 into 2 is equal to 6. 6 is an integer. So integers are closed under multiplication. That means closure property holds true for multiplication. Now coming to division, a divided by b is not an integer. As you can see in example, 5 divided by 2 is equal to 5 upon 2, which is 2.5. Okay, so it is 2.5 is not an integer. So integers are not closed under division. That means closure property does not hold true for division. Now coming to our second property, commutative property. See, a into b for multiplication, a into b will be equal to b into a. Example, 5 into 2, this will be equal to 2 into 5, which in both cases answer is coming 10. So for multiplication, commutative property holds true. Now let us see for division. A divided by b is not equal to b divided by a. As you can see in example, 5 divided by 2 is not equal to 2 divided by 5. In left hand side you will get 5 upon 2, in right hand side you will get 2 upon 5, which are not equal. So commutative property is not true for division also. Coming to our third property, associative property. Now yesterday you saw in associative property you need 3 integers. So a, b and c are 3 integers. So for multiplication, a into b in bracket multiplied by c, this will come equal to a into b into c in bracket. You are aware of associative property, so I am not explaining the associative property in very long way. I am just making you understand for multiplication and division. See, example, 2 into 5 in bracket multiplied by 3. If you solve, you will get LHS equal to 30. And on right hand side, 2 into 5 into 3 is in bracket. Here also answer you are getting 30. So associative property is true for multiplication. Now let us see for division also. A divided by b in one bracket divided by c. And on right hand side, a divided by b divided by c in bracket. Okay, so both cases answer will come different. So associative property will not come true. You can see the example. 2 divided by 5 in bracket divided by 2 outside the bracket. This will yield a result of 2 by 10, as you can see in the subsequent steps. And on right hand side, 2 divided by, now in bracket 5 divided by 2 is there. This will yield a result of 4 by 5. So 2 by 10 is not equal to 4 by 5. So associative property does not hold true for division. Now comes our distributive property. This is a new property in which you require multiplication and plus both knowledge you require yesterday. That's why I have not covered this property. Now distributive property says that suppose a multiplied by in bracket b plus c is there. So by distributive property, it will come equal to a multiplied by b in one bracket plus a multiplied by c in second bracket. As you can see in example, 2 multiplied by in bracket 5 plus 3, and on right hand side 2 multiplied by 5 plus 2 multiplied by 3. By distributive property it is coming, this step. So left hand side when you will solve 2 into 8 you will get 16. Right hand side also you will solve, you will get 10 plus 6, 16. So distributive property we have seen to be true, or we have proven the distributive property by taking an example. So remember the distributive property, it is used in solving questions of the exercise. Now coming to our multiplicative identity and inverse. Yesterday you saw additive identity and inverse. Today multiplication is our topic. So multiplicative identity and inverse. If a is an integer. Okay, so a into 1 is equal to 1 into a is equal to a. What is meaning of multiplicative identity? Meaning of multiplicative identity is that what you should multiply to an integer so that you should get the same integer. Okay, so what is that number if you multiply with any number so that you should get the same result? It is 1. 1 you multiply with any number, you will get the same number as in question. So 1 is always the multiplicative identity for each and every integer. You can see example, 5 into 1 is equal to 5, or minus 3 is also there if suppose. So minus 3 also you will multiplying by 1, so you will get minus 3. You are getting the same integer. So multiplicative identity is always 1. What is multiplicative inverse? Meaning of multiplicative inverse, I am just telling. Meaning of multiplicative inverse is what you should multiply to an integer so that you are getting the answer 1. Okay, suppose 5 is there, what you should multiply by 5, what you should multiply in 5 so that you are getting a result of 1. So 5, if you are multiplying by 1 by 5, you will get 1. But 1 by 5 is not an integer. 1 by 5 is a rational number which you will study in class 8th. So multiplicative inverse does not exist for integer. It exists for rational numbers which you will study in next class, but for integer it does not exist, because any integer you cannot multiply with another integer to obtain a result of 1. Okay, now as was case in the subtraction, identity and inverse does not exist for division also. For subtraction it does not exist, and for division it does not exist. So you remember these three things, very important. Additive identity, which we saw yesterday, additive identity was 0. Additive inverse was number with opposite sign, and multiplicative identity is always 1. Only these three things you have to remember. Remaining all things does not exist. Okay, now next I am taking some multiplication and division. These are not properties, these are basically situations or scenario. If you multiply any integer by 1, you will get the number itself. This is the first one. If you are multiplying any integer by minus 1, you will get the integer with opposite sign. As you can see, 5 I am multiplying by minus 1, so you are getting minus 5. Any integer, if you are multiplying by itself, you will get the square of that number. Square is a concept which again you will study in class 8th. 5 square is 25, means 5 into 5. Same way 4 square is 16, 4 into 4. This you will study in next class, so I am not delving into it in detail. Now, if you multiply any integer by 0, what you will get answer? 5 if you multiply by 0, you will get 0. Okay. Same 4 situations for division also. If you divide any integer by 1, you will get the same integer. If you divide by minus 1, you will get the integer with opposite sign. See example, 5 divided by minus 1, so you are getting minus 5. Now, if by itself you are dividing, any integer divided by itself, always 1 you will get. See, 5 by 5 is equal to 1. And any number or any integer, if you divide by 0, so you will get an undefined number, or rather it is also called infinity number. So these were general cases. So what we will do, we will now remaining part of the integer chapter we will study in our next class. Very important topic is remaining, that how to add, subtract, multiply and divide the integers. So stay tuned. I will be continuing with my remaining videos and remaining concepts. Thank you.